The other thing I've noticed is that the way the teachings seem to work with me is they seem to work best through direct interaction. So it's not just book knowledge, it's a direct interaction. This is some kind of transmission. And sometimes as a seeker, you can make lots of effort and expend lots of energy doing spiritual exploration and practices. And then suddenly there's an opening that occurs. And it's non-linear, it's non-rational, it's not really totally related to the efforts you made and to the practices you did, always. Sometimes it is, but not always. So something in a direct interaction with somebody who's living this themselves, let's say, that can be of great benefit, or so it seems. You're already whole and complete. Another way of saying that is there's no you. There's just wholeness. There's just completeness. There's no actual entity, separate entity you. There's just fullness. This fullness is empty of a you, a self. So any help that I give you, any assistance I give you is what we call apparent assistance or apparent help, because you don't need any help because you're whole. And the help I give is just to remove the notions and beliefs that you need help. So it can be very helpful. To be told and shown that you don't need help. If you see what I mean. Okay. If anyone wants to speak, ask a question, talk, feedback, comments, please unmute yourself. I've muted you. Some of you weren't on mute, so I've muted the ones I couldn't mute. And then please ask away or speak.
Hi, Tom.
Hello there, Lindy.
Hi there. Hi. Yeah, I'm very interested in this. I'm interested in the whole transmission thing. It's just so mysterious. I mean, it's incredible, really. I know last time when I was when I joined you, I was really tired and I sort of dozed all the way through. I heard it all, but I just didn't feel like getting involved. And the energy the next day was just astonishing. And I've noticed that before. And today I'm just completely exhausted. I've just got a lot going on at the moment, so I'm physically and mentally exhausted. And I completely forgot about tonight and arranged to go out with friends, but I'm so glad I actually cancelled, because as soon as I heard your voice tonight, all the mind stuff telling me I can't cope, you're going to be ill, and blah, 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 all that stuff just seemed to just at least partially drop away. So I just want to say thank you. And I'm really glad I can be here. But a lot of teachers really downplay the whole transmission thing, don't they? And I'm quite interested in why that might be. Are they? I'm just wondering whether there may be the teachers that say practice is really important, and because I mean I feel quite lazy about this whole thing now, having worked and worked and worked as a seeker. I've sort of got to the point where I watch and I listen, but I don't feel there's much more for me to do than that, really. I have been praying, as you suggested a couple of times ago. I mean, in a very non-praying kind of way, but opening myself up and, gratitude and,
Well, Lindsay, first of all, what you've said, I'm sure the whole group would agree with me. It's very powerful what you've just said. And I'm so happy you told me. The thing about the transmission, I mean, imagine you're someone like myself who's found themselves in this kind of situation like I have, where, I'm sort of essentially I'm in a role as some kind of spiritual teacher. Now imagine it's your first satsang as a teacher. I didn't have a teacher. I didn't go to satsangs and things like that. I went to a couple, but not really. So I hadn't really experienced this sort of transmission thing, really, apart from through Ramana. And I never went to any of his meetings because he died 30 years before I was born. So I wasn't aware of this transmission thing, really, until people like yourself, Lindy. I'm still not always aware of it. For example, what you told me, I wasn't aware of that. I wasn't aware of my effect on you for at the last meeting, for example. But it's only when people tell me and report back to me what happens to them, I find it amazing. I find this whole teaching thing that I do, and I know this can come across in the wrong way, and I hope you won't take it that way, but I find this whole teaching that I do to be amazing. I find what I do to be incredible. And I mean that in a humble way. I find it surprising that, and I still do, even though I've been doing this for a good while now, I still find it surprising how positively the teachings are received and the energetic transmission is received. It amazes me every time. And I'm completely bowled over in a way by what you've just said, Lindy. And I'm delighted that it's helping you.
yes, I mean, it's, well, I've stopped really thinking about it in any great way, just accept that that's the way it is, and it keeps me coming back, I think, because, yeah, I've got a few issues I'm dealing with at the moment, and any support is great, really. So, so yeah, just tuning in and really not having to do very much, just letting myself have it, which is quite an important thing for me to let myself have the good things. And yeah, so I'm very grateful. So yeah, so thank you, Tom. Whatever it is you've got, I want more of it.
And I'm sure I haven't got this. There's nothing to do with me.
I know. It's just a way of speaking, really. But I'm very, very grateful because compared to how I'd have dealt with the kind of issues I'm dealing with at the moment in the past, I get pretty close, get into the margins sometimes on the mental health front, and I think I need less of the traditional sort of support things now than I would have done in the past.
When you say traditional, you're talking about traditional mental health support, right?
Yeah, and medication stuff. Yeah,
exactly. That's what you mean.
Yeah. Yeah. So, although, I was feeling so close to the edge, just because I'm exhausted, I'm just clearing out a big house and things like that at the moment. I haven't got any heat. Well, I've got some heating in this room, but my boiler's broken, and I know it's just life stuff, and I'm really trying not to get too involved in it, but not to much avail, really. But I probably am dealing with it better than I was. So,
Well, my sense is that you're dealing with it way better than you were. That's just my intuitive sense that's coming through. And also my sense of you, Lindy, as to, I think you've come to the last two meetings, is it?
yeah, I've been to quite a few in the past, but it's been very sporadic. But
Yeah,
I want, I just get so much, even if I don't speak, and even if I snooze a bit during it, I still get so much from it, and it's just great because I really don't have to do anything, which is
that's it. You don't. You don't have to even understand the teachings. You don't have to understand the words. You know, you don't have to understand it. You just have to come. That's what I'm finding more and more, is that, you know, when I started sharing this, I was much more, the concepts I used to teach were probably in a way better. But I think the transmission was less because I was trying to talk about it more using concepts. But as I've got feedback from people, I'm realizing that's, you know, that's a part of it, sure.
Yeah, well, I first saw you when you were on Conscious TV long time ago, and that was very conceptual then. And I spent a lot of time listening to Roger Castillo. And I know that I watched, you know, the satsang that you and he did a while ago together. So, you know, I get all the intellectual stuff from Roger. And, you know, that's my kind of go-to because it's always there, and I'm quite I wouldn't say I'm an intellectual person, but that the framework, having a framework's really helpful for me.
You're a thinking person. You're in the,
Yeah,
you're in your mind.
unfortunately,
You
too
are.
much. Yeah, yeah.
Probably. And
But you
that's
know,
probably why,
50 years plus habits are quite difficult to move on from, I think.
well, you can't do it yourself. That's why the lazy approach, you said you're quite feeling quite lazy about it all. The lazy approach for you is the good approach. You're letting go, you're coming here, you're letting go, you let God do the work. Because it's almost impossible for you to change your habits. But the miraculous thing about these teachings, when I say the word teachings, I like that word, but I think people might hear it differently to how I mean it. It's in the broadest possible sense of the word. It's the
Yeah,
energetic transfer. It's the sense of presence. It's the concepts. It's everything. It's the whole of life teaching. It's not just Tom's teachings. It's the teachings. It's all there is really is are the teachings, or the wholeness, the teachings. It's the same. So yeah, these teachings work. You just have to turn up, and you can't do it. But the teachings, the energy, God will do it for you. The thing
yeah.
that
I mean,
one,
I don't have a problem with teachings. I still have a bit of a problem with God. I mean, not a massive problem. I'm not, you know, hugely anti it, but it does come up with connotations that I don't really find fit in. You know, whenever I hear the word God, I still have to, you know,
reinterpret.
sort of change it to life force or
Yeah,
universal energy or stuff, really.
yeah. Grace. What about grace?
Yeah, grace is good. Yeah.
Grace is good. You can do grace. Yeah, grace. To let grace do this for you.
Mm,
Let the grace of life do this for you. Because you can do life as well. You like life as a word. So yeah, grace of life.
sometimes.
I meant you like the word life.
Life force, I could
Life
deal with.
force.
Yeah,
So yeah, the force will do this.
the force.
We're going into Star Wars territory.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I haven't seen the latest film yet, so no.
No, not me.
But yeah, let the force do the work. You know, your
I really, well,
feel.
I'm asking and praying and trying to be open as much more
Mm.
than I ever have before. So hopefully, no. Anyway, it's just nice to be here, and thank you. You probably saved my bacon this week. So, and if I feel crap tomorrow, I'll let you know.
Don't let the others know. You know,
Okay,
only
I'll
share
keep
the
it.
positives.
I'll keep it private. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah.
I'm sure it'll be fine. Just to keep me on the straight and narrow till, you know, I'm over this sort of difficult hump really in my life. So, yeah,
Well, I'm so happy to see you, Lindy. I'm so.
yeah. Well, I hope I'll get to London and see you in person at some point. I feel like it feels like, you know, I've got to know you quite well, even though I haven't seen
Yeah.
you in person. But maybe I'll get there one day. But it's a bit of a
Well, of
trek.
course,
So.
I'd love to see you in person, but there's no need. That's all.
No, it's
There's no need.
astonishing. It's just
There's no need.
astonishing how this can happen just across the vibes, you know.
Oh yeah, it's amazing how it can happen through these computers because there's no limitation to time or space.
Amazing.
Yeah.
To a logical mind, it's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, it amazes me. I think it's amazing.
Mm. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Lindy. Thank you so much. Isn't that lovely, everyone? That's amazing, isn't it? I think so. Ah. Right, good night, everyone. That's enough for me. That's I'm kidding. I'm kidding. That's brilliant. I'm so happy. Now, Ramana said something about Ramana Maharshi. He said something about, I can't remember exactly what it was, but I think there was a poem he wrote about the lazy person, and it was a tongue-in-cheek poem. He was saying how the lazy person gets enlightened, because his teaching verbally, conceptually, was about stillness, silence. Be still. In Tamil, they say summa ir, which means be still. So he joked and said, this is the lazy person's way. You know? The non-lazy person, the person who's doing this, doing that, they're totally enmeshed in the illusion. Whereas when you stop doing all that seeking and trying and striving and trying to find the right teaching, the right concepts, the right practices, it all works magically. So if anyone can find that verse on the lazy teaching from Ramana, please let me know, because I don't, but otherwise I can try and dig it up at some point. Maybe if anyone feels like they want to Google it, that's maybe after this meeting, and let me and find it for me, then please do that. One thing about Lindy did kind of ask a question as well. She said some teachers don't really talk about transmission that much. Why is that? And obviously it will vary from teacher to teacher, but perhaps it's because for many teachers, this is really, for many people I've noticed, the realization, it hasn't, what I call, gone down into the heart. It still remains quite intellectual. And when the teaching is mainly intellectual, then the transmission is purely conceptual, which means it's just about talking and listening. Whereas when it goes into the heart, it bypasses time, space, mind, concepts, and then something else. That's when something else can happen. What it's really doing is just opening ourselves, or opening our mind to ourself that which is always whole. It might feel like it's coming from Tom, or a person, or a figure, but actually what it is someone like Tom, or this person or figure, is just sort of triggering the mind to stop and open to your true nature. And then you feel that opening and you think, oh, it's coming from Tom. So in a way it is coming from me, and in another way it isn't. It's just opening up to your own self. And I'm just kind of a catalyst or a trigger. The other thing about the transmission is that a lot of false teachers and cults, actually, they really work the transmission thing. So my instinctive kind of, my personal tendency, my personal instinct is not to really talk about transmission, because I don't want to make this about me. I don't want to deify myself or glorify myself in that way, or gurufy myself, if that's a word, So my sort of instinct is not to talk about transmission. But then when you get the feedback and you realize how powerful it is over several years, then it feels disingenuous not to talk about it. And it can be so helpful to hear about it. But a lot of the false teachers, who are building up a cult of personality, where it's all about them and how amazing they are and how enlightened they are, they will often stress transmission. This is one of the problems of the transmission type teachings. So in the Advaita Vedanta framework, they say the guru can never give you realization. You need a guru to help, but you need to do the work yourself. That's what Ramana said. That's what the traditional scriptures say for the most part. The problem is that people's experience around Ramana, for example, is different. They all say, "You did it for me, Ramana." So it's funny the way it works. See, when our true nature is love, happiness. So we really dissolve, we disappear into love. I'm not talking of a personal love or romantic love, although it doesn't exclude that, of course. I'm talking about a happiness, a joy, the bliss of being, the bliss of simply being. And everything is a part of that. Everything is just that. But when everything goes, there's still just that. Just that love. And that's our nature. In Sanskrit, the word for our true nature is swarupa. Swarupa. That's our swarupa. That's our true nature, our true form. Rupa means form, and swa means to do with the self. So it means the form of the self, your true nature. Swarupa.